Hey, Steven, we got to figure out an intro to the podcast.
That works.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to another episode of the No Fluff MSP Marketing Podcast. I'm your co-host today, Tahir, and we've got the host,
Steven Badorf. We switched sides, and we have a whole new change of scenery.
Yeah. We're going to pretend like this was all intentional to have a cool podcast vibe. But the reality is we just needed all the space up here for another desk. So
You can do both.
Yeah. I like how it's set up. Real wood, real wood, fire. So, I think most people listen anyway, so it doesn't really matter what the scene looks like. But for those 4 people that watch the videos,
Check it out. Yeah.
This is for you. This is for you. Maybe we'll make the podcast thumbnail of this so people can get a glimpse of it. All right, Steven, what are we talking about today?
Well, this is kind of a natural evolution from our webinar video we did. I don't know if that was in like our first 10 videos. It was one
Definitely
of the very early ones.
Yeah.
The to webinar, not to webinar. But we're kind of going more with what we've learned since then, which has been a lot. We're kind of going at webinars, and as you saw with the title, it's kind of more so your last webinar flopped. How do you make the next one succeed, basically? Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that I'm excited to get into with this one. I think it really adds on to the previous webinar, or previous podcast. So I'd say definitely listen to the to webinar, not to webinar. But even if you haven't heard that one, I think this one can survive as a standalone.
Oh, totally. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
Awesome.
You want to get started? I can get started.
Yeah, I can get started. So Webinar 101 is to pick a topic that attendees will actually care about.
It seems common sense, but it doesn't happen so often.
Yeah, like we get pitched webinar ideas and I'm like, man, this is horrible. No one is going to attend this webinar. Like no one cares about your firewall. Like this is the worst idea. Like don't do that. We got to do it around something that people are going to be interested in. And the best way to think about this is sometimes we have to give people what they want in order to get them what they need. I forget who, someone said that recently. I was like, that's beautiful. Like sometimes we have to give them what they want to then get them what they need. And that's why we go really hard on kind of foot in the door techniques. It's very hard to just get somebody to sign up for managed services or get a managed services lead, right? Mm-hmm. So like, it's almost always good to have some type of like offer to get them interested, whether it's an interesting webinar around AI or whether it's a free penetration test that they actually do care about because of a compliance checklist, checkbox, right? Like there's sometimes got to be our foot. Now that's why we always use VoIP a lot at Alltech. Like I got a lot of foot in the doors with VoIP because people understood VoIP. They know they don't like their current phone system. They know their friends have the phone system that do all the things. And then I get to be like, we can do all those things. And it really got our foot in the door. And so that's kind of how we have to treat webinars. I know we want to teach them all about dark web monitoring and some other boring shit. Like I know that's what we want, but that's not what they want. And as long as we keep that in our mind, like what do they actually want? We can better serve them with webinars that are going to hit home.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to webinars too, there's no shame in following the trends, like you're saying, like AI, things like that. Just because, I don't know, like it's so in one ear out the other with anything digital nowadays. So especially with a webinar, like you've got to grab the attention and obviously don't like clickbait and then not provide value in the webinar. But building it around these kind of bigger topics that are hot right now, is the best way to do it.
Totally.
Because I was going to say like, it's hard to get a registration for a webinar. Like you think it's going to be easy. You create a great dark web monitoring presentation, you put it up, you're like, this webinar is going to be great. We've got the information, we've got the slides, they're beautiful. And then nobody registers because it really does come back to the title and topic 9 times out of 10.
So definitely be clickbaity. Be as clickbaity as you could possibly be.
But then back it up.
Just deliver the goods. Just deliver the goods, right? Awesome. All right, so you want to hit the first one or?
Yeah. So, this is kind of just going to be a lot of some of the things we talked about in the to webinar, not to webinar, but mostly just like marketing your webinar, what we found out, kind of to just build on top of those pieces. The first one's pretty self-explanatory, but just built around like utilizing any form of social media advertising, Facebook, LinkedIn. This seems common sense too, but then we see a lot of the times like MSPs will have a webinar and then not really post about it at all. They'll be like, oh, the registration page is up on my website somewhere that nobody can find it, and they never mention it until the day of. And at that point, a lot of the time it's too late. So, utilizing Facebook, LinkedIn, posting out, I think we've talked about it like 2 times a week. Like there's really not, with a webinar coming up within like a month, you can post about it multiple times a week just to get people
100%. It's great content.
Engaged in it. Yeah. It's not being spammy or anything like that.
Especially if you can get on video real quick and do a video, like a 1 minute, just explaining what the webinar is going to be about. A little more hype.
Super casual.
And we're going to talk about some other things that you should say in those videos here a little bit further down. But yeah, exactly. So why is advertising good for things like this? And it's oftentimes like advertising. I mean, sometimes we can just get them to like click on a LinkedIn or Facebook ad and like fill out a contact form for managed services. Like that can happen. It's just significantly more rare than having something of value that they can then subscribe to, right? And a webinar fits this perfectly. There's different tiers of lead magnets, right? And sometimes like the lowest tier lead magnet oftentimes is just like an ebook or template, right? Like they work, but they're like kind of like the lowest tier. And then like, you know, above that would be like a mini course and like a little more engagement, audit, et cetera. And then like the top tier would be like a thing like an engaging webinar, or like in our case, we're very lucky at MSP Camp, like we can have an entire month trial. Like you don't really get a higher lead magnet than like free month.
Try the thing,
like, try the thing, cancel anytime. Like that's, unfortunately in the MSP space, we oftentimes can't have a lead magnet like that because like trying it means switching to a new IT provider, which there's a lot of friction. So that's why webinars come in really nicely, because it's a low friction, high value thing that we can use as a lead magnet. Like when someone registers for that webinar, great, we can go ahead and continue to nurture them. And as long as we advertise it right, there's actually pretty high likelihood of that actually occurring.
I'd agree with that. I mean, I'd like to believe, especially from the marketing side, that like prospects want to be excited about your webinar. You know, like if you do everything right leading up to it, like they do want to attend. It just really is like, do you have the topic correct? And are you like just making sure they have every avenue possible to register and attend? And then as we'll talk about later, like what do you do with the recording? How do you build scarcity? That sort of thing.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I want to believe that. Maybe it's not true, but I mean, I think a webinar is compelling. It just is.
Yeah. As long as you back it up with things we're talking about. You want to cover email marketing?
Yes, email marketing. Just our rule of thumb for this has always been, I mean, same as social media. It's not one or the other. You're doing both at the same time. So your social media posts are going out, and you should also just build kind of an email campaign. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It can be 3 emails, one going out 2 weeks before, one a week before, and then usually just one a day before, just to remind people and just kind of have that moment where if they were engaged previously, they know it's coming up, especially with people with busy schedules, especially like in this space. It's very valuable. But
we found anything before 2 weeks out typically doesn't get much registration, so it just becomes noise. So that seems to be the best thing that we found is like 2 weeks out, 1 week out, and then 1 day out. Like, hey, this is coming, because that does kind of get those like last minute registrations.
And keep them quick. Don't be crazy. Especially the 1 day out one is basically just a reminder like, hey, do you remember this webinar's coming up?
Yep, exactly.
Registration link attached to everyone.
Yeah, awesome. What's next?
Do you want me to take it again?
Yeah. Go
Oh, yeah. This one's scarcity. So as I mentioned earlier, you kind of have a few options. Well, basically just 2 options when it comes to scarcity for your webinar. First, and this is a big tool that helped for us, once we started doing it at Alltech, conversions of people signing up for the webinar definitely increased pretty drastically. Saying that if they attend the webinar, or even if they can't attend a webinar, saying if you give us your information, we'll be sending out the recording link afterwards. So make sure to still sign up so that we can send this to you. And obviously that has the benefit of getting them in your CRM. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later too. So that's kind of option 1, providing the registration afterwards. Do you have something to say about that?
I just want to take a pause on that because I love this. Like when we came up with that, which is so obvious, like so much marketing. So well, obviously we should do that. But like when we started doing it, like we got so much more registration, and it's like, it's fine that they may not show up, because how many times have you, like as someone listening, how many times have you said, will this be recorded? How many times have you said, can you send me the recording? Okay. Now you have that number in your head. How many times have you actually gone back and watched the recording? Is it like 1% or 2%? Which one? 1% or 2% of the times that you got the recording that you actually went through? Like nobody actually goes and watches the recording.
Collecting the recordings.
Unfortunately, like no one's going to do that. Fortunately, AI note takers make it easier to kind of get the summary of things, which is amazing. So many great AI tools now, but the good thing is it doesn't matter, because they know you provided value to someone. They know you did that webinar. They knew they were willing to give you your information. And now they know what webinars are coming up next, and that you're an IT provider that does that for your clients and prospects, whereas their current MSP just sends them invoices.
That's really the goal of the webinar, right? So, I mean, you're accomplishing it both ways, even if they don't attend.
Authority.
And I'll cover this one's pretty quick. I mean, we're definitely biased toward the option we just covered. The other option is making the scarcity the main point and being like, there will be no recording, so make sure to catch this webinar live. Usually that'll come with a bit of a more aggressive marketing approach because you want to make sure, the webinar is the event. So that's another option you have. The biggest thing with anything is that you should always have the recording, either if you're going to send it out to your prospects or you're just going to have it for next time. Just make sure you always have that internally as well.
100%. But so it's like both sides of scarcity. It's like register and you'll still get the recording, or like there will be no recording sent out unless you attend, right?
Do not ask about it.
Both can work. Like if your webinar is really heavily like, okay, a lot of value plus a lot of sales focus, so we kind of need them on the webinar. It's great to use option 2. If option 1, we don't have a lot of context in our CRM right now and we want to get more, that would be a great one for option 1.
Yep.
Cool.
And then next bit, this is kind of the last bit of the marketing piece. So wherever you're setting up your webinar, whether that's on Teams, we've been using StreamYard recently, they'll always require some sort of banner. We always recommend just adding that to your website as well, making it easy, as I mentioned earlier, for the prospect or attendee, current client to actually go to the webinar. Like, just imagine they know nothing about navigating anything really. And we've had to use that a lot just for websites in general. But adding it to your website, adding it to a web page, as we'll mention earlier, getting in your email signature. This was a big one for us as well when we started advertising the webinars for All Tech in the email signatures, as you mentioned before, obviously.
Yeah,
but
like obviously.
You could tell right away.
Yeah.
And then the other bit, before I pass it back to you, is just like making sure your retargeting ads point to the webinar as well.
Yep.
And that's more just for the prospects rather. Well, no, it can be for the clients as well, just because it's re-hitting people who engage with you.
100%. Yeah, retargeting ads are great. You know, this is someone that's visiting your website, it's either prospect, current client. Let's mention in the retargeting ad, one of the retargeting ads that we're doing, this is a $100, $150 a month thing, that we have a webinar coming up, right? Just showing the prospect how engaged this local IT provider is. Like, this is a lot of what marketing is in the MSP space. It's just like staying in front of people, showing that you're credible, showing that people know, like, and trust you, and they should too. Like, that is a lot of the long game within the MSP marketing. Now, let's take a pause here because we just went through quite a few things. And like, if you are the owner doing marketing, you're like, this is so much. There's no way I'm going to do all this. Yeah, I know. That's why you need an intern. Like, just there's so many colleges around you. I don't care if you're in bumfuck, like in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's fun. Like, I know you can get an intern. It's fine. Pay him $10 an hour. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, well, what should the intern do? Like, grab this guide, have him or her start doing webinars. So this seems very daunting. And then it's like, oh, wait, I just get somebody to do it. And that's like 4 hours of their one day of the 20 days they're here.
Yeah, I remember that's one of the things I started out with. And the good thing about webinars too is like they really do have like almost every aspect of marketing tied in somewhere leading up to the event. So it's a great tool for somebody just starting out to do.
They're gonna have to get into the email marketing. They're gonna have to get into the ads. Like you're right. So it's like you're right. It's almost like a core focus. Like, okay, this is one strategy we're doing, but you have to have all these other things working. Excellent point. And here's the thing. I'll never forget this thing. There are haters in every facet of everywhere. But here's the cool thing. If you're someone that's actually doing something and someone's hating on it, it's like, okay, you don't need to worry about their opinion. Okay, that's vague. Let me give the specifics, right? I was on Reddit. Someone's like, how do you market your business? I was like, well, these are like the kind of 5 or 6 main things I would like kind of recommend because this really worked for us. I don't even think I mentioned this really worked for us. I just said like, hey, this is kind of where you should focus. Someone commented under that and goes, this would take a whole person and a half to do all of these things. There's no way this can all get done, right? That's an example of a hater because here's the thing. I was the one doing it. I wasn't giving someone advice and saying you should do these things.
Yeah, without knowing what goes into it.
That's what I'm saying. Like those are the things I was currently doing, and that was just one of my roles at Alltech. I also did the sales and account management. So like I think I replied politely, but it's like you are 100% wrong. You are completely and absolutely wrong. And the reason I know that is because that's what I'm doing. Like I'm doing it. Like I'm not pretending to be doing it. That's what I'm doing, as well as these other things. And so it can seem daunting, all of these things, but when you have someone dedicated in a marketing role, this stuff's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all.
Dude, I just can't believe that somebody on Reddit was negative. That's crazy.
Dude, I'm so over Reddit. Like I'm so over Reddit. All right, cool. So let's keep going. Some necessary webinar inclusions, things that we really want to include in a webinar.
Yeah, a lot of updates from the previous podcast as well. These are ones we brainstormed just recently, and they're becoming as we mentioned earlier, we're creating a lot more webinar campaigns on MSP Camp, and these are just going to be included in everyone and retroactively ones we've done before.
Yeah, so these best practices inclusions are going to be included, like Steven said, in that webinar that we're giving to members. And the reason we're doing it is one of our members, Sean, who's awesome, he listens to the podcast. Thanks, Sean, you're the man. He actually pitched us on a webinar on cybersecurity, end-user cybersecurity training. Now, that's a cybersecurity training that does have value because the owner or the manager or whatever is like, oh, I think we should all attend this. And he got a bunch of people to attend. He actually got paid $1,500 to do this webinar we made for him, right? And then he was gracious enough to say, hey, you made this for me. You can post it. He was happy for us to post it for all our members, which is so dope.
Yeah.
So he created the content for it. We designed it and got it all ready to go. Now all members have access to this webinar that he got paid $1,500 to do and got a great response on it. And so because so many members loved that, we're like, let's do a podcast on this. Let's do a video on this. Let's do a training on this. And let's do more webinars. So we have a series of these coming out, which I'm sure Stephen will cover down the road. But that's what he's mentioning. Like, don't get too overwhelmed by these inclusions because like we're going to have a spot in the template saying you need to have it here, right? So it's going to make it a little bit easier of the checkbox. All right, cool. So the first one is you do need to include a giveaway. Like you do need to include some type of enticement. This is when I don't like giveaways, right? I don't like giveaways when it's like, sign this deal and I'm going to give you a free Oculus Quest.
You
like,
get an iPad.
Yeah, like to me, that is tacky because it's like, this is a $3,000 a month contract. Like nobody's going to sign a $3,000 a month contract for an iPad. But when we're talking low stakes, trying to get somebody into a webinar, I would totally register for a webinar if I have a chance to win a $400 Oculus Quest, right? And like, that's great. As long as we're talking to the right person, which we will be, because like our email list is right, our clients are right, our prospect list is right, our retargeting are people that visited our website, which is probably right. Like as long as our communication is to our right people, then we're going to have the right people signing up, right? So yeah, I would typically recommend a physical good, not a discount 50% off service.
It's just not as exciting.
It's not like, hey, we're going to be giving out an Apple smartwatch. We're going to be giving out an Oculus Quest. Like every single event, people know we're doing some type of giveaway. And it needs to be tied to like at the end of the event that there is like maybe a quiz to make sure people are paying attention or they were there the whole time. We use Kahoot. We love Kahoot.
Yeah, Kahoot's super easy to do. I recommend that.
So that way they actually win that physical product. It's exciting for everybody there, et cetera. And it can get people in the door, which is going to build our lead list, which is what we need. That is the lifeblood of marketing.
And just make it a core part of your emails, included in the social media post. I mean, it's just an exciting part. And I feel like discounts, I wish they worked. Like internally, it's very much like, look at all the value we're providing with this discount. But to the person reading it, it's kind of just numbers. Like it doesn't read the same as like, oh, here's a thing that you can hold and have.
Totally.
It'll all be cooler.
Cool.
Sweet.
You want to cover offers?
Sure. So this is also one we're going to be including kind of as two separate slides. So you want to have some sort of offer on top of the giveaway for clients and non-clients related directly to what you covered in the webinar. So we also came up with a list of webinar topics and future ones we'll be creating at MSP Camp. The one that's in design now is built specifically around AI applications for small businesses. So we kind of came up in this example. So for clients, it would be, if it was a Copilot one, we'll provide free Copilot training for you and your team, that sort of thing. And then non-client, you kind of want to make this one a little bit more, I don't know, appealing to.
You want them to book a call.
So yeah, we talked about this one. We're like, book a call for 1 year of Microsoft Copilot. You got to make it a little bit more. You can't just be like, oh, a month of Copilot because it's not going to resonate. And really drive to book that call. And then we also are including these two, like you must be a decision maker. You can't just be somebody who's like, oh, I want a free 1 year of Copilot. So you do have to be aware of people kind of gaming the system. But if you make it irresistible, I really do believe this can, on top of the giveaway, just get people to convert. I
mean, let's just think about this for a second. This is done at the end of the event, right? This is our sales focus of the webinar, right? If a current client's there, because we're gonna have both, we got to think about this. We're gonna have both clients and prospects there, probably more clients than prospects. So we need to have an offer for both. We can't just leave the clients out to dry. We got to give them something because they attended. And then for the non-clients, we have to sell them, right? They're on the webinar. They like the webinar. We gave them value, jab, jab, jab. And then the right hook is like, we need to sell you something and you need to be excited and you're going to be excited about buying it. Because think about it. 1 year of Microsoft Copilot, it's $360, right? It's not like we're going to give it to the whole team, right? We're going to say 1 year of Microsoft Copilot. If you're the decision maker gets 1 year of Copilot. Great. They like it. Maybe they roll out to their whole team and you get to help them do that. But if that's a true value, make sure we say, hey, this is a $360 thing that we're going to give it to you for free. If you book a call, Like just book a call with us after this and we're going to give this to you for free. Like how much does a lead cost the MSP space? Sometimes thousands of dollars. So for $360, let's just check that box off. And now they're an engaged lead. They set a call with us. They like us. They're going to be getting all the other webinar email invites. That's how we do it. That's literally how you do it. All right, cool. Great job on the offer, Steven. That's a great point. Make sure we have something. We don't want to get 80 people on a webinar and not sell them something. Right?
Yeah. And we used to just be doing webinars without that.
I know. And I still punch myself in the face for that. So, all right, cool.
I was going to mention too, I really liked your point about like the clients have to have something. I remember when we were brainstorming too, because I mean, it is very easy if you're a client sitting in there like, oh, they don't really care about me anymore. That sort of thing. Like that, it goes a long way to also have an offer for them, even if they don't take you up on it. Because it's like, I'm already in their ecosystem and still being, pitched to or just like contacted other than just like, here's the shiny new prospect and I'm going to give them all this free stuff and you get nothing. Yeah. Like throwing them a bone goes a long way, I think, for just retention.
And they're happy to be there. They're happy to be there. They want to buy more shit from us. It's amazing how much my members are like, hey, I'd like to buy more things from you. And I'm like, I don't have anything else to sell. They're like, let us buy more things, right? Like they
create more things
you.
so I can buy it.
They like you. Like they want your clients want to buy more things from you. Like if there's true value, perceived value there, the perceived value is high. Like they want to buy more from you. They want their business to be better. They already like what you did on the operational side. They're moving faster. They're moving quicker. The IT's working. Like what's the next? They're willing to invest. We just have to kind of give them something to buy. All right, cool. Moving on. We have a whole thing on cross-sell. If you haven't seen that episode, make sure you go. That's the one I gave on ScaleCon. Is
cross-selling to current clients.
Cross-selling to current clients. We did that a lot at Alltech. It was awesome. So if you need help on that, please listen to that one. All right, cool. Plan to follow up. Plan out your follow-up. So we don't want to just like post and ghost, right? We did a webinar. Now how do we follow up that? Make sure they know where the next webinars are. So for all of our JAST clients, when we were doing that, or when we would post it on their website and have a page with like, here's the past ones, here's the next one, and here's like the future ones. So yeah, just have a page on your website. It should be easy to update. If you're using Elementor, it should be very easy to update. Have your marketing company or website company do this. Your intern should be able to do this. Steven was doing this first week. So I don't want to hear this like, oh, it's too technical. No, it's not. Unless you're on like, I don't know, some type of like code website, which is old school. All right, cool. And then we just need to let them know we're going to send you an email of the future webinars.
Recording if you provided that.
Yep. Another thing we want to do, which is gold, is post the best content from the webinar on your social media accounts. Any successful webinar will contain tons of interesting info that you can splice up and use as social media content. 100%.
Yeah.
There's always like that, like these podcasts, we'll do 45 minutes and like, yeah, they're good. But there's in almost every podcast, there's like a 60-second rant from one of us that's like, oh, that's gold.
Usually.
Yeah, I know. But there's usually some where it's like, that's gold. Like we need to pull that out, which we've been doing more of lately. And sure enough, it's doing great on social media. So we need to do this too as MSPs. Like, did we just cover something great around AI or an AI tool or around Copilot or around cybersecurity end user training or whatever that we can then use as a snippet, because people are not going to watch a 45-minute on LinkedIn. They might on YouTube. Perfect. Let's pull that out. Again, another great job for an intern. Oftentimes I hear people say like, what should my intern do? And it's like, just have them go through the guides on MSP Camp and they're going to be busy for their entire internship. Like it's fine. And all that's going to be worthwhile. If we wrote a guide on it, it's worth doing. We're not going to write a guide on something we don't
just to waste your time. Yeah,
not going to happen.
No, and I agree completely on that. Just like, I mean, if you're building your webinar with value first, as we're mentioning, like it's impossible not to have clips there that are going to be helpful to anybody who didn't even attend the webinar. So definitely do this.
100%. And then there's more to this. Like if you want a deeper dive, like just go grab the guide on MSP Camp if you're an MSP Camp member. If not, if you're not a member and you want it, just email info@msp-camp.com and we'll happily send it to you for free. I mean, no worries. But you do want to tag your attendees with the specific webinar that they attended in the CRM, because that's going to help us as we do continuing ongoing marketing. Like they need to be the ones, okay, these are engaged people. So we just want to make sure we have the tag so we know what webinars they attended. It's also going to help if you have a salesperson to, when they reach out, like, hey, how was X webinar? So they know like, okay, these people really pay attention to me. Cool. All right. So You want to cover the last
Yeah,
piece
like
before we get into the
you built up there.
Well, I thought we were moving to the ideas, but I realized there was one more.
Oh, yeah. This one's super quick. This is more so just like, so you have your question slide and everything at the end, but also after you've concluded your webinar, you've done your giveaway, you've made your offer, everybody's happy. Just make sure to ask and see like, what webinar ideas do you guys have? Like ask that and let it sit for a bit. Don't just ask and like sit for 10 seconds. Cause a lot of the times the attendees are going to have an idea in their head and like, those are the ones you need to do. Cause it's no more firsthand than the attendees of your webinar, what they want to hear from you. So if one client's thinking it, tons more are thinking it too. So just ask that question, let it sit until it gets a little bit uncomfortable. Somebody will speak up and that'll help you for your next few webinars on top of the ones that we're also doing on MSP Camp. And if you get a good one, you could ask us to design it for you.
Yeah,
we don't mind.
Yeah, like send it to us. Like if you're doing these webinars, which more and more of our members are doing, which makes me so happy. And you ask this question and someone gives a good one and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to create this webinar? You know how you're going to create it? You're going to send it to us. And as long as it doesn't suck 101, then we're going to create it for you. Like Sean sent it to us. We started creating it that same day.
Yeah.
So if you have a good webinar idea, like, and you're an MSP Camp member, like absolutely pitch it to us. We have just been pitched a few that we're not going to do. So, I mean, it's not like there's 100% that we're going to do it, but if it's like, okay, this one has legs, then we're going to do it. Because again, we don't want to post something, whether it's a guide, whether it's a course, whether it's content, that we don't think that's going to help you. So we don't want to check a webinar box and do one around something that like is not probably going to help you and it would be too hard to get people to show up. That's just not great.
And the good thing is too, like even if you pitch a webinar idea that we don't necessarily follow in the webinar format, a lot of times these ideas will just turn into a different form of content where they'll work better. A lot of times webinar is a tough thing is like you can have a really good hook, but then once you start creating it, it's mostly like you have maybe 3 slides of things, then the rest of it's fluff.
Yeah.
They really just have to be a fully formed topic, but yeah, just pitch them. I mean, and we'll put them in the right places, but more content suggestions are never a bad thing for us.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
love it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Since you're still here, you get the meat now, right? We saved the meat for the end. I mean, all that was hopefully pretty meaty for you, but now we're going to go into like, okay, cool. I'm on it. I want to do some webinars. Like, which one should I do?
You convinced me, Dr. Steven.
So now we're going to give you some ideas. Like these are webinars that I would totally run. Like I would run them. I would do everything I just said, everything we just said on like marketing and follow up everything else. These are some of the ideas that we've kind of come up with. The first one, and this is one that is currently on MSP Camp that Sean just did. And
what a coincidence.
$1,500 is security awareness training. Everything your business needs to stay secure, right? And we're making it around training. I think this is the most important piece about this that makes this webinar interesting is we are people just love training. Whether they do it or not, they sure love to hear that it's going to get potentially done.
Makes you feel good.
Makes you feel good. Like I want my team to do training. Man, the amount of training I send Steven and Jen and Maddie and everybody, I'm like, hey, do this, watch this, Cool, let's tap into that because business owners do care a lot about that. So security awareness training, that's number 1. We have that on MSP Camp right now. Sean's the man for letting us post that. All right, number 2, and this is the one we're working on right now. Do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, this is kind of just the practical applications of AI in your business, and then a little subtitle would be how to do more with less time and to make more money. Everybody likes to make more money. Yeah. So we're keeping that. I mean, this one should be a beast. It's taking a lot of time, but like we're really trying to have this like, here's the high level overview of AI used in marketing, sales, etc. And then also just talking about some direct tools that you can utilize, and including that at the end. And then that combined with the giveaway, the offer, like we're trying to custom build this one so that anybody who attends the webinar, like you're getting something out of them.
Yeah. And here's the thing, everybody. Let me raise my hand. Let's take a pause. This webinar is not going to be 10 reasons AI is scary for your business. I'm tired of seeing that shit all over social media, all over everybody's
really interesting.
website.
I didn't know those.
Oh my God. It's like MSPs have latched onto AI in the worst way possible. They've latched on in the worst way possible. Not everybody, guys. If this is not you, I'm not picking on you. But I've seen it a lot where it's like, you're using AI. That's great. But have you considered all of the security risks of AI? It's like, no one gives a fuck. Like it's, again, let's take a pause. It's important, right? Very important what you just said and what you're thinking about AI and how the risks around AI, 100% important. But going back to the beginning of the episode, sometimes we have to give people what they want to show them what they need. So we get them with, these are all of the amazing things AI can do for your business. Here's some specific tools you can use. Here's a wonderful offer on how to use it more for your business. Okay, we got them in with what they want. And then when it goes into the sales meeting and those QBRs, we do need to talk about what they need, which is, a really solid like AI process, acceptable use policies. Those things are important. I'm not saying that's not important. They're super important. I just think it's falling on deaf ears if that's what we're constantly posting about and talking about. Let's get them excited because emotion oftentimes is what can sell in marketing. And then we'll get to like the more in-depth, hey, we're being really good stewards of your security by talking about these other things.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge to the webinar's reception, like you're saying, giving people what they want. I mean, that one inherently is going to have a negative takeaway because you're leading with the positive, like AI is great. And then you're just talking about the negatives of it the entire time. Ideally, I mean, it should be completely flipped. And I mean, I think for a lot of these webinars that we have listed here, UK, if I skip down a little bit.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
A lot of them are built specifically around like, here is the issue, and then here is how it's solved. Here is how we help. Here is how you navigate it. So like, for example, we have like the true costs of slow technology, how your aging tech or how your aging IT is killing your productivity, and then like how you can solve this in X amount of time, that sort of thing. Like really just building on, I don't know, people know that something is not getting done, but you're there to help. I mean, the primary function of the webinar is to assist rather than scare somebody and make them not want to use a tool or thing that you're pitching, especially if you offer it, right?
Yeah. And the title is so important. The title is so important. That's why I love like the practical applications of AI in your business, how to do more with less time plus make more money. Like that's a great title.
That's what people want to hear.
That's a great title. Like that's how you should title these webinars. Don't just say like cybersecurity webinar, like make it where it's like exciting. And this is not that hard, right? Just like take a few more minutes and be like, oh wait, this is fucking dull. Like, let me make it awesome, right? Another one I love that we've added here is like modern business automation from to do to done with the right IT stack. Love this. This is great. So like not every MSP has experience in automation, but again, sometimes you have to give them what they want to get them what they need, right? So we might get an automation expert in to talk about Zapier, Power BI, Power Automate, et cetera, and then like that's what gets them in the door. And then we get to talk about, okay, cool, I see you want to do automation, but like the housekeeping of your business is totally incorrect and we can help there. And that gets you in a good foundation to then use automation, blah, 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 right? Let's get our foot in the door with what they want, then feed them what they need, right? It's like that. I've done this with every one of my kids. And it's one of my favorite things to do is like, I'll have like a piece of pizza, like especially when they're like one, when they can't eat pizza yet, but they like are really excited for it. And I'll start putting it towards their mouth and like, they're like so excited. They're like so stoked. And then like last minute underneath the pizza, I feed them that like smashed up broccoli. And then they start eating the broccoli. They're like, and they're fine. They're fine. They're not pissed off. They're just like, oh, that's not exactly, but yeah, they want the pizza. They want it. But they need the broccoli. We got to give them the broccoli.
It's a very funny visual.
I mean, dude, it's one of my favorite things. I'll do it all the time. The other thing I do, this is one of my favorite things about
Monster.
This is one of my favorite things about Talon is he's always so good at taking a joke. So I saw a video online where there's like a little egg and the egg was cracking and the mom's like, Eloise or whatever. And like the girl comes, she's like 6, she comes running over and she's like, oh my gosh, the egg's cracking. And then like it's cracking and then like it cracks open and it's the mom's finger with a little smiley face on it. Like she was pushing her finger through the bottom of the egg so it looked like the egg was cracking. It cracks through and like the daughter was so mad. She like, so anyway, I did that exact same thing to Talon when he was around the same age and like I cracked it with my finger and he just stared at it for a second and then he just started cracking up. I mean, he loved it. Unfortunately, I went through 12 eggs that night. I was like, man, eggs, this is right when eggs
this
are getting,
economy.
I know, this is when eggs are getting expensive. I'm like, oh no. But anyway, that's one of my favorite things.
And what this means for webinars is
so you have to have the egg and then crack it into Copilot. No.
That's your offer. Yeah.
Bait and switch. No, but we do. I mean, the reality is we got to give them what they need, right? And oftentimes that's coming through what they want.
Cool.
Last one that I really like here, we did this really, really super duper hard at Alltech.
Did a ton
Every
of these.
single month we did these, and
they kept working.
Yeah, they kept working. So it's like fine. Is supercharge your team with Microsoft 365 tips, tricks, and hidden gems for productivity.
People love hidden gems when it comes to
They love
these
secrets and
services.
hidden gems. Still works. That's why every marketer puts secret blah blah blah. It still works. We just love these. Teams always did well. Excel always did well. PowerPoint did well. Word did well. Like these are great
things people are using every day.
Yeah, and
every week.
It's things that businesses are using, right?
Yes.
It's like end users are like residential is not using Teams. If we're talking about Microsoft Teams, we're talking to business people. If we're talking about Microsoft Excel, we're talking to business people, right? And so like it's a great way of having a topic that we know if someone shows up, they're showing up in a work capacity, right? They're not showing up Saturday night to learn about PowerPoint at home, right? They're like, okay, I'm a business person. You're helping me complete my business work because you support the IT systems of my business or other businesses in this area.
Makes complete sense.
Like, it's like that's how you get to the person you're trying to talk to. So we really love those.
Yep.
All right, cool. I mean, look, I know webinars can be work. I get it.
They are work, yeah.
They're work, but as long as you have an intern or a coordinator, you can get this done quick. You can have a monthly webinar, no problemo, and that's just a little part of their job. And sometimes interns are like, well, what do I do next? Cool, let's get a webinar. And then some questions you might have, it's like, well, how do I find people to do the webinar? Or like, how do I design the webinar? All great questions. Go to the guide. It's in the guide. We didn't want to make this a 2-hour podcast like all of our other ones.
What are we at right now? 35?
I think we're doing pretty good. 36.
There we go, yeah.
So go to the guide, and then if it's like, okay, well, I am going to start running webinars, great. Maybe just start with the ones that are already designed for you on MSP Camp. But that's something I haven't seen a single content provider in the channel do. I haven't seen anybody have ready to run webinars. So I'm loving that we're doing these again. They do take a lot of time and effort, but again, they're high value.
Yes.
So if you're an MSP Camp member, make sure you log in and get that. Okay. If you're not an MSP Camp member, tighten up. Just kidding.
Be cooler.
Can you just be cool? No, seriously, we'd love to have you join. It's $97 a month. Cancel anytime.
Yep.
Of course, no worries if not. I just want you to listen to podcasts. I just want you learning and doing stuff. Like that's amazing. If you want us to help, you can try it out. If you don't like it, cancel anytime. So there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yep.
And it gets better every week. I'm like super grateful for what we're building. Cool. Anything else, Steven?
Oh, good. I like that one. It was fun.
That was fun. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. And we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye from the new studio.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't hate it. Thanks.
Bye, y'all.